Welcome back to Top Repairs. How do you know you got a bad sway bar bushing and it's time to replace it? This part here is the sway bar, and the rubber part on the sway bar is going to be the sway bar bushing. How do you know that you might have a bad sway bar bushing? And the first sign it is going to be noise. When you go over a pothole or a speed bump, or you're driving over uneven road surfaces, and if you hear a clunky noise, there's going to be a good chance that sway bar bushing might be the issue. But of course, a bad ball joint or a bad control arm bushing or a bad sway bar end link can also make a clunky noise. So I'm going to tell you guys how can you tell a bad sway bar bushing is going to be the issue. The biggest clue that you're going to have a bad sway bar bushing, it is going to be instability. For example, if you're turning around the corner and you notice poor handling and increased body roll, that's how you know that you're going to have a bad sway bar bushing. In addition to that, if you're driving down a road and you're going at high speed and you notice that the vehicle feels kind of unstable, that's how you know that you also might have a bad sway bar bushing. Also, if you're turning around a corner and you hear a thumping noise or a knocking noise or a clunking noise, there's also a high chance that bushing might be the issue. And if that sway bar bushing is extremely worn out and if it is missing, you're going to hear a very loud clunky noise. And if that sway bar bushing is intact and it is not missing, but it is just worn out and maybe that bushing is dried out, you might hear a squeaking noise when turning around the corner. Let's inspect the sway bar bushing. First, make sure that sway bar is not moving. If it is moving, you might have a bad sway bar end link, or maybe the bolts on the sway bar is missing, or maybe the rubber bushing on the sway bar is missing. If the sway bar bushing is not missing, check for cracks, make sure it is not worn out, and make sure that sway bar bushing did not come out of place, because if it did, it is going to cause all sorts of issues. Next, you want to push the sway bar bushing. If you can push the sway bar bushing and it can slide back and forth, that sway bar bushing is bad. Next, make sure there is no gap between the sway bar bushing and the sway bar. If you can see a gap, go ahead and replace that sway bar bushing since it is worn out. Do you need an alignment after replacing the sway bar bushing? And in most cases, you don't need an alignment because most likely it will not affect the wheel alignment angles. I hope you found this video useful. As always, thank you for watching and subscribe to Top 5 Auto Repairs.